Hi, welcome to Tasty Treats 2020, where we're doing some house sampler blocks this time amongst lots of other things this year. It's such a good year, 2020. So we're making blocks that are going to look a bit like houses, and they're all going to have a different type of block within them. So this is a diagram up here of the blocks that we're doing. We've done quite a few already, so we're up to block 15 this time. So this is the block we're making this time. So we're doing pretty well with all of this. So if you'd signed up on GourmetQuilter to receive the patterns, you'll receive a pattern of instructions and cutting notes and things like this. And so we'll get started on the block. I've already cut my patches out according to the pattern, and it tells me that I need squares of 4 colours plus a background colour. And so on this background colour we need to draw the diagonal lines. We're making some half square triangles as we've done with some of the other blocks. So I've drawn my diagonal line and another one ½ inch away so that I can keep the other half, as also we've done on other blocks. So I'm going to pair them up. We need to do 2 of each colour. So we've got enough of the background squares to do 2 of each colour, and then so I'll just get them paired up and then I can chain piece them through. So as I said, 2 of each colour works really well, and then they just need to be stitched and then trimmed and pressed. So I'll go ahead and get started on those. So I can pop these ones through. So nothing different to what we've been doing in this regard, but we'll be doing a couple of different things as we go this time. So I'll just go ahead and keep doing those and show you when I've got them all cut and pressed. So I've gone ahead, I've made my 2 each of everything. I've got one sitting down on the table and I've got 1 of each in my hand here. We can put aside 1 of each because these are going to be the corner squares in our block. If we look at the block up here, we've got corners that's a half square of each colour with a background. So that's what these 4 here are for, so we can put those to one side. Now we've got to make the side patches, and they've got 3 colours in them. So again, if we look up here, we've got 2 smaller triangles and then a half triangle here. So we've got to do some tricky little manoeuvres now. I should have said earlier, this particular block, more so than some of the others, it would help you hugely if you've labelled all your fabrics as they are on the pattern, A, B, C, D and E, so that you can work out which one goes with which. Otherwise it could get a bit confusing with different colours and things. So we've put aside 4 of our half square triangle units for the corners. The other 4, I've laid them just face down at the moment, so that I can mark. We've got to mark on the back side, so we're going to treat this like another square, and same sort of thing, we're marking the diagonal line, and then I'm just going to save again the one to the side. So I've laid them with my background fabric at the top on each case, because we're going to make them, they have to be made a certain way or they won't work for you, which would not be helpful because they'll be round the wrong way. So I've marked them with my diagonal line and then my ½ inch, because I'm going to save that corner because we're chopping off the right hand corner as I'm looking at it on each one. And then we need to place these, so we need a particular combination. So this is my A fabric and this is my B, and it needs to go to my C fabric, to my E fabric. I'll get it right in a minute. And so I'm going to place that on there, and it's just the same as far as the sewing is concerned. It's the fabric combinations that make the difference on this block. So I need to do my diagonal lines on there, and so I've got them all ready to go here. I've put my colour combinations out here, so that's all in the notes clearly written out for you so that you can get those colours sorted. But I do suggest that you label your fabrics for that reason, because this block is a little bit more involved with colours than some blocks are. So now I can just go ahead and sew my half square triangle units again, and we can trim off the side that we don't need. So it's a good idea before you do that to check that the sides that you are trimming off is the right side that you've marked, so that you do trim off the correct side, so that the piece is looking as it should look. And on the pattern I have given you some diagrams so that you can see how the combinations will work. So I think that it's all clear on the pattern, probably clearer than me just showing you and rattling it through the sewing machine. So it's all there for you to work it out for yourselves. with your colours. So just before I sew my other seam so I can trim off the corner, I'm just going to double check that when I open that out, that is going to be correct. And it is, because that is actually this little square here. I'm not sure if you can see it, but I've got the colours as they should sit there. So it's worth checking. It would be frustrating to do it the wrong way and have to redo them. So they are looking correct, so then I can go ahead and either trim off or do my extra line of sewing and then trim off the corners, because the piece I'm going to be left with will be correct. So I've gone ahead and I'm just going to trim off the part I don't need. Very brave move, this one. As I said, it is quite easy to get these round the wrong way, so worth checking every step of the way. So I checked them before so that I've trimmed off these bits that I now don't need, and I'm going to press these. So I'm going to press them so that into the larger triangle. So it's kind of fun to be making these little units just a little bit step further than we've been doing with the half squares. So we're now got a couple of little quarter squares in there, but only 2 of them, and the other one is still a half. But wait, there's more. So those are the little squares that we need for around the sides of our block. So you can see that this unit here, for instance, is going to be there. So that's why it's very important to have the colours correct, because everything has to match in to achieve the look of this particular block. So I've gone ahead and made all those, and now we have to make the little centre square. So I'll just get all the patches ready and I'll show you how to do that as well. So we're going to make the centre square now. So we've got we should have 1 square of each colour left, because if we look at the block up here, we can see that this has got quarter square triangles and they're all different. So we need to make those units, so much the same as we've been doing, and certainly similar to what we've done here, where we've created the little quarter squares, but we need all 4 quarters this time. So on the back of it, again, it tells you in the pattern, on the back of your C and E squares, we need to mark the diagonal line, and again we can trim those off after we've done the stitching. So I'm going to go ahead and do the stitching on the diagonal line, and I've got my second line, so I can just use the other part for another project. So I'll go ahead and stitch these 2 and press them, and then I'll show you the next stage. So I've gone ahead, I've made the coloured half square triangle units, and I'm just pressing them now. So we're going to press them into the fabric B and the fabric, which one is this? D. The notes will tell you all this. And so now I've got these 2 units, and we now need to put those 2 together to make the centre square with the 4 different colours. So this time we've got to put them together so that the seams will nestle, and that was why we're pressing them specifically into the different colours, so that when we've sewn that diagonal line, we're going to have that 4 triangle thing, but we need to make sure we're sewing it the right way. So we're going to sew it so that, we need to mark the diagonal on the back of one of the sides, so that we're going to come across the seam that we've just sewn. And we need to just double check that everything is going to be sitting in the right place. So I think it probably is, and we'll just have a double check on that. So I've got it so that I've got this one, then that one, then that one, and then that one. So we're looking pretty good there. So we've got these 2 units together, the seams will nestle, we can draw that diagonal line from point to point, and if you are saving these other pieces, you can also do that second line. So I'm going to go to the sewing machine now and stitch that line, and then we'll press it open when we've trimmed it, so that we can see that we've got a centre square that works with all those other colours. I'll just quickly do that second line of sewing. I'm getting quite a collection of these little off-cut squares. So I'm just going to trim that now between the 2 lines of sewing. We don't need this piece. I'm going to press this and then we can lay our block out. Now, because we've got that meeting of 4 corners in the middle there, I would recommend pressing that seam open this time on the back rather than to one side. You can do it to one side if you prefer, but I think it sits a little bit better if you press that one open. So we're looking pretty good. Now we've just got to lay our block out and then sew it up, because it comes back to being a 9 patch as we've been doing. So our 4 corners we know are like this, and we'll just make sure we've got them in the right order. So we've got the light background on the outside of each of the 4 corners. We know this one's going in the middle, but do we know which way round it's going yet? So then this one here is going to go here, and that means that this one here is going to go here. So you can see we're starting to get the colours connecting together. This one here is going that way, and this one here will go that way. So far everything's looking good. And then we just want to pop that centre one in. We don't want it round the wrong way. It's all meant to connect up so that these colours are all sort of seated as if they're going around. So that's how you get all those little fiddly little corners and things done. I think it's come up really well. So now we're back to our 9 squares, so we can make our 3 rows of 3 squares joined together and then join the 3 rows up, and our block will be done. So I'll go ahead and join my block together and show you when I get out the other side of that. So I've gone ahead and I've joined up my block. Because there's a whole lot of corners meeting, you may need to encourage your pieces to sit comfortably when you press those seams down, but a bit of gentle encouragement works wonders with fabric. And so there's the block all joined up. So now we just need to put the surrounds on the house walls so that we can have it ready with all the other blocks. So I've got my sides to go on here and the top and bottom already ready to go. So I'll go ahead and sew those on and show you the block when it's done. So I've finished putting all my surrounds on and I'm just pressing the block now. So I'm pretty happy with that. So I think it's looking pretty good. I do definitely recommend with this block. It was a little bit more complicated than some of the others just because of the colour placement. So I think as long as you've labelled all your fabrics as to which colour they are, you shouldn't have any trouble at all. It's now looking a whole lot like the one above it there, and I'm pretty pleased with that. So that's block 15 done, thank you, and we'll see you again for block 16.